Hello and welcome to my channel. Blemishine will be having a raid up soon, and this video is here to introduce Blemishine's entire kit. Blemishine is a defender from the Guardian archetype, which means she is a healing defender that can block enemies and heal allies. Looking at her stats, she has a decent HP, a high attack that is actually the highest in all the Guardian defenders, a somewhat lower defense stat than other Guardian defenders, some resistance, an average DP cost, 3 block count and a decent attack speed. Unlike most Guardian defenders, Blemishine actually has an extra 1 tile range in front of her, which is super useful. Other than that, her stats are quite balanced, so nothing much to comment here. Moving on to her talents, her first talent allows allies that have a defensive recovery skill to also gain 1 SP when attacking when Blemishine herself is deployed. This skill is pretty awesome as defense recovery operators now have an additional offensive recovery. This skill pairs extremely well with Mudrock's second skill, as Mudrock can now gain more SP when blocking and attacking enemies, which means more spins and more DPS. More spins also means helicopter, helicopter. Next is her second talent. It allows Blemishine to attack and prioritize sleeping enemies. Her attacks will also deal additional damage when attacking sleeping enemies. Blemishine is a knight who apparently murders her enemies in their sleep. What a noble thing for a knight to do. Give her a medal. This talent is actually pretty decent as it pairs well with her second skill. Plus, sleeping enemies usually can't be attacked. With this talent, operators that can put enemies to sleep like Sora's skill can help improve Blemishine's DPS output. Moving on to her skills, her first skill lets Blemishine deal 260% of attack as physical damage on the next attack and restores the HP of a nearby ally for a percentage of Blemishine's attack, plus this skill can store 3 charges. This skill is actually pretty good for a starter skill. The attack boost is super high and the healing is decent, plus the skill can hold charges and has a cheap SP cost, an awesome skill to use for consistent bursts of damage and heals. Next is her second skill. It gives Blemishine a decent attack buff and all ground enemies within the same tile as herself are put to sleep, and she will restore the HP of all nearby allies by a percentage of Blemishine's attack every second. This skill pairs well with her second talent thanks to the sleep, and the range for her healing is really big, which can increase the survivability of a huge number of allies against enemies with AoE attacks. This skill has a cheap SP cost but a short uptime, but putting enemies to sleep for 10 whole seconds is actually really good. But this skill is a defensive recovery skill which might take some time to charge, but thanks to her first talent, this isn't that much of a problem. Next is her third skill. When active, Blemishine gets a decent attack and defense buff, and every attack deals an additional percentage of attack as arts damage and restores the HP of a nearby ally besides herself for a percentage of Blemishine's attack. This skill actually has the highest healing output in the entire game, plus it has a relatively cheap SP cost and a good uptime, but similar to her second skill, it is a defensive recovery skill. This skill can deal additional arts damage to enemies, making this skill Blemishine's strongest skill in most scenarios. That being said, her other skills are also super strong. So, is Blemishine a strong operator? The answer is a definite yes, as she can heal allies, deal decent damage, block 3 enemies at the same time, and can be brought into any stage. A super strong operator to own. I will be making a separate should you pull guide for her raid up banner soon, so do look out for it when it arrives. And that is all. Hope this video was helpful in introducing Blemishine. I will be making similar content in the future, so do consider subscribing. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.